Dr. Paul Martinez stood in the underground facility beneath Colorado's mountains, surrounded by screens displaying data that would make the Galactic Council reassess everything they thought they knew about humanity. The facility ran 15 miles deep, carved from solid rock and shielded from every form of scanning technology the Council possessed. It was one of 20 such installations hidden across Earth's surface. General White is arriving now. His assistant called from across the lab. Martinez saved his work and walked to meet the woman who commanded Earth's entire defense network, General Karen. White entered the facility with the confidence of someone who had spent 40 years preparing for exactly this moment. Her uniform bore no decorations, no medals, nothing that would suggest her true authority. That was intentional. Everything about Earth's military had been intentional since the day humans detected the first Council scout ship entering the solar system 7 months ago. Show me what they don't know, White said. Without preamble, Martinez brought up the holographic display. The blue light painted their faces as Earth's hidden fleet materialized in the air between them. The Council believes we have 53 vessels, Martinez began. They reached this conclusion by observing our public space traffic and civilian shipyards. What they failed to detect were the construction facilities on Europa, Titan, and Enceladus. The display shifted, showing massive shipyards hidden beneath ice and inside the moons of Saturn and Jupiter. We currently field 412 warships, White said, finishing his thought, each one incorporating technology the Council has no reference for. Martinez nodded and expanded the display. Earth is what the galaxy calls a death world, he explained. Gravity 1.3 times galactic standard. Atmospheric pressure at sea level that would crush most Council species. Temperature ranges from -80 to +50 degrees. Storms that generate more energy than some species. Entire power grids. The Council looks at these conditions and sees a harsh environment. They don't understand what it created. He pulled up human physiology data. Our bones are denser than any Council species except the Kryn, and we're faster than them. Our muscles developed under gravity that makes most aliens struggle to stand. We can survive injuries that would kill Council soldiers. And our minds, Martinez smiled. Our minds learned to solve problems in an environment that constantly tried to kill us. White walked through the holographic ships, examining each design. Talk me through the weapon systems, she ordered. Start with what will surprise them most. Martinez highlighted the lead battleship. The Council uses energy shields that disperse laser and plasma weapons, he said. Standard galactic warfare for 3,000 years. So we didn't build weapons to fight against energy shields. We built weapons that ignore them entirely. He brought up the railgun specifications. Magnetic acceleration drives pushing tungsten projectiles to 15% light speed. The kinetic energy alone exceeds anything in the Council's arsenal. Their shields are designed to deflect energy, not solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. It will pass through their defenses like they aren't there. White's expression didn't change, but Martinez saw the satisfaction in her eyes. The Council also relies on predictable combat doctrine. Martinez continued. Their battles are fought at ranges exceeding 100,000 kilometers. Ships exchange fire in orderly formations. Victory goes to whoever has more vessels and stronger shields. They fought this way for millennia. So, we won't. He shifted the display to show fighter craft. Small and swift. The Council doesn't use fighters, he explained. They consider them inefficient compared to capital ships. Our fighters are equipped with AI neural interfaces. Human pilots link directly to their craft systems. The AI handles calculations and targeting while the human provides tactical creativity and split-second decisions. Response time is measured in milliseconds. No Council ship can match that agility. White expanded one of the fighter displays. And the pilots? Lieutenant Michelle Turner leads the first squadron. Martinez replied. She's logged 3,000 hours in the neural interface simulation. Her reaction scores exceed theoretical maximum by 18%. The AI enhances her natural abilities, and she enhances its creative problem solving. Together, there's something the Council has never faced. The General walked to another screen showing Earth's defensive positions. What about the home system defense? She asked. Martinez brought up orbital platforms, lunar bases, and satellite networks. Every communications satellite we launched in the past 5 years contains dual-purpose military hardware. He said. The Council scanned them and saw civilian equipment. They never detected the railguns and missile systems hidden in shielded compartments. Luna Base alone can destroy a Council dreadnought from 200,000 kilometers. And there are 47 other positions they don't know about. White studied the data for long minutes. The underground facility hummed around them. Processors running calculations for the coming battle. They think we're afraid. She finally said. They think we're stalling because we're desperate. Yes, Martinez confirmed. Ambassador Thompson is performing brilliantly. Every analysis suggests. The Council is completely convinced of their superiority. They fought primitive species before. They've crushed uprisings and rebellions. They think we're just another young race that doesn't understand our place. White turned to face him directly. Paul, I need your honest assessment, not as a scientist, as someone who understands what we're about to do. Can we win? Martinez had spent his entire adult life preparing for this question. Had run the simulations 10,000 times. He had tested every system, examined every variable, calculated every probability. The Council has numbers, he said carefully. They have experience. They have technology refined over centuries. But they've been fighting the same wars for so long that they've forgotten how to adapt. They expect us to fight like they do, with honor and established rules. We're going to fight like humans, like a species that survived ice ages and plagues and predators, like people who learned warfare from necessity, not tradition. Yes, General, we can win, White nodded once. Then, activated her communication link. Admiral Brooks' face appeared on the screen. Daniel, how is the fleet? She asked. All ships report ready. Brooks replied. Commander Stephen Park has finalized the battle plan. Captain Richard Cole confirms all. Experimental systems are operational. The crew knows what's at stake. Good. White said. The Council's ultimatum expires in 36 hours. Krathzel will advance with his 600 ships, expecting easy victory. Show him what Earth really is. Show them all. Brooks smiled, and it was not a kind expression. With pleasure. General, Earth defense out. The connection ended. White and Martinez stood in the underground facility, feeling the weight of what was coming above them. People lived their normal lives. Children went to school. Workers built and created families, gathered for meals. None of them knew that in 36 hours, humanity would announce itself to the galaxy, not as victims or subjects, but as equals who would not be conquered. I should return to Central Command, White said. We'll coordinate from there. Martinez nodded. General, one more thing. The Council has never fought a species like us because most Deathworld species never develop space travel. The environment that makes us strong usually kills us before we advance. We survived when we shouldn't have. We thrived when we should have died. That's what they don't understand. Earth didn't just make us tough. It made us survivors. White paused at the door. Then let's make sure the Council learns that lesson, she said, even if we have to write it in the wreckage of their fleet. Far above, in orbit around Earth, invisible to Council scanners, 3 battle groups waited in perfect silence. Crews ran final checks on weapon systems. Pilots prepared there. Neural interfaces. Ship captains reviewed their orders one last time. Admiral Brooks walked the corridors of the Ons Valiant, speaking with crew members, offering quiet words of confidence. They were ready, Earth was ready. The Council thought they were coming to crush a primitive species. Instead, they were about to meet humanity, and humanity did not surrender. The metal halls of the Galactic Council station stretched for miles in every direction, polished to a mirror shine that reflected the lights of 1,000 distant stars through massive viewport windows. Ambassador Lisa Thompson walked through those halls with measured steps, her black diplomatic uniform crisp and professional despite the long journey from Earth. The alien beings that passed her in the corridors towered over her human frame, some with scales that shimmered like oil on water, others with skin that seemed to shift between colors. She had no name for none of them. Acknowledged her presence. Lisa had grown used to this treatment over the past 3 months since humanity made first contact with the Galactic Council. To these ancient species, humans were nothing more than primitive newcomers who had barely learned to travel between stars. She entered the Grand Council chamber, where representatives from 40 different species sat in circular tiers that rose toward a domed ceiling. At the center of it all sat High Arbiter Velthorn, a Kryn whose forearms moved with deliberate grace as he gestured for silence. Lisa took her assigned seat in the lowest tier, the position reserved for species deemed least important. The matter of the human question will now be addressed, Velthorn announced, his translator device rendering his clicking speech into words Lisa could understand. Humanity has been granted 3 months to prove their worthiness of Council membership. Yet they have failed to demonstrate sufficient value to our collective. Lisa remained calm, her hands folded in her lap. She had expected this. The Council had made their intentions clear from the moment Earth's first diplomatic vessel arrived. Ambassador Thompson, Velthorn continued, fixing his 3 black eyes on her. Your species occupies a strategic system with resources the Council requires. Your technological development suggests you cannot properly utilize what your worlds contain. Therefore, the Council has reached a unanimous decision. The chamber fell silent. Lisa could feel 40 species watching her, waiting to see how this primitive human would respond to what came next. Humanity will surrender control of Earth and all territories within your solar system to Council authority within 72 hours. Velthorn declared, you will be permitted to remain on your homeworld under Council supervision. Your people will contribute labor and resources to the greater galactic community. This is not a negotiation. This is the Council's judgment. Lisa stood slowly, her movements controlled despite the anger burning in her chest. High Arbiter, the people of Earth are a sovereign species, she said, her voice steady and clear. We have harmed no one, threatened no one, and sought only peaceful relations with the Council. What you describe is not supervision but subjugation. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not cruel laughter exactly, but the kind adults give when a child says something naive. Ambassador, your objection is noted but irrelevant, said Council member Zaxter, a reptilian being whose species had conquered 17 systems. Before joining the Council has existed for 3,000 years. We have seen 100 species like yours emerge from their home systems with grand ideas of independence. All of them learn the same lesson. The strong decide for the weak. Your military forces consist of what, 50 vessels? Another Council member interjected. The Council commands fleets numbering in the thousands. Your weapons technology is centuries behind our standard armaments. This is simple mathematics. Lisa looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives. Some looked bored, others amused. A few seemed almost pitiful. None showed any concern for her words. If humanity refuses this generous offer, she asked, then the Council will take by force what you will not give freely. Velthorn replied, Fleet Master Krathzel currently waits with 600 warships at the edge of your system. If we do not receive your surrender transmission within the allotted time, he will advance. Your cities will be occupied, your resistance crushed, and your people will serve regardless. We prefer cooperation, but we will not be denied." Lisa stood silent for a long moment. She thought of Earth, blue and green and beautiful. Spinning in space 3 weeks' travel from this cold station, she thought of the billions of people living their lives, unaware that these alien beings had decided their fate. She thought of Admiral Daniel Brooks and the fleet he commanded, waiting for a signal. "I will relay your terms to my government," Lisa finally said. "I cannot speak for their response, but I will ensure your message is delivered. See that you do." Velthorn replied, "The Council's patience has limits." Dismissed, Lisa turned and walked from the chamber. Feeling their eyes on her back, she moved through the corridors with the same measured pace, giving nothing away. Once she reached her assigned quarters, she activated the secure communication link to Earth. The quantum-entangled connection meant no time delay. Despite the distance, Admiral Daniel Brooks' face appeared on the screen. His gray hair and lined face, speaking of 30 years in Earth's military. "Ambassador Thompson," he said, "I take it the meeting went poorly? They've given us 72 hours to surrender Earth or face invasion." Lisa replied, 600 ships under Fleet Master Krathzel will advance if we refuse." Brooks nodded slowly, his expression unchanging. "And your recommendation?" "They're arrogant." "Daniel," Lisa said, completely convinced of their superiority. "They haven't even properly scanned our capabilities. Their intelligence is based entirely on what we allowed them to see during first contact." A thin smile crossed Brooks' face. "Good. That's very good." He looked off-screen for a moment, issuing quiet orders to someone outside the camera's view. When he looked back, his eyes were hard. "I've received authorization from Earth Command." Brooks said, "We will not surrender. Repeat your diplomatic efforts for the next 48 hours. Make them believe we're stalling out of fear." "And then?" Lisa asked, though she already knew the answer. "Then we show them what humanity really is." Brooks replied, "Krathzel, we'll learn why you don't threaten a species that climbed from the bottom of Earth's food chain." The connection ended. Lisa sat in the darkness of her quarters. Looking out at the stars, she felt no joy at what was coming, no excitement for the violence that would soon follow, but she felt no fear either. The Council had made a terrible miscalculation. They saw humanity's small fleet and assumed weakness. They counted Earth's few centuries of spaceflight against their millennia and assumed superiority. They looked at human diplomacy and assumed submission. They had never asked themselves why a species would develop such devastating weapons technology in such a short time. They never wondered what kind of world would produce people who smile politely while preparing for war. They never considered that Earth's gravity, atmosphere, and evolutionary pressures might forge something more dangerous than anything they had encountered. The Council expected humanity to surrender in 72 hours. They would learn their mistake. Lisa returned to the Council chamber the next day with new proposals, counteroffers, and requests for negotiation. Velthon dismissed them all with barely concealed contempt. She spent the hours playing her role perfectly, the desperate diplomat trying to buy time for her frightened people. Meanwhile, 300 million miles from Earth, Admiral Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge of the UNS Valiant and watched his fleet prepare for battle. 48 hours until the ultimatum expired. 48 hours until the Council learned what humanity kept hidden. He looked at Earth on the view screen, that small blue marble that had given birth to a species the galaxy was about to meet. "Bring the fleet to battle stations," Brooks ordered. "All ships report ready status, and someone get me Commander Park. It's time to start this war." Fleet Master Krathzel sat in his command throne aboard the dreadnought Eternal Judgment. watching the primitive human homeworld grow larger on his viewscreen. 600 Council warships surrounded his flagship in perfect formation. 3,000 years of military tradition reflected in every precisely maintained position. This will be the easiest conquest in my career. He thought. The countdown to the ultimatum's expiration showed 12 minutes remaining. Not that it mattered. Ambassador Thompson had sent increasingly desperate messages over the past 72 hours, each one offering more concessions, begging for more time. Krathel had ignored them all per Velthorn's orders. Humans would learn through force what they refused to accept through reason. Fleetmaster, we are detecting movement near the human homeworld, his sensor officer reported. The human vessels are assuming defensive positions. Krathel examined the tactical display. 53 small ships. Just as intelligence had predicted, they formed a loose perimeter around their planet, spacing suggesting they hoped to create overlapping fields of fire. Primitive tactics from a primitive species. How many crew aboard those vessels? Krathel asked. Estimates suggest 5,000 humans total, came the response, and we have 60,000 trained warriors. This is not a battle. It is an execution. The countdown reached Zara. Krathel activated the communication system that would broadcast to every human ship and to the planet below. People of Earth, he began. Your time has expired. No surrender has been received. Your resistance is futile. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any hostile action will result in the destruction of your vessels and the bombardment of your cities. This is your final warning. The channel remained silent for several seconds. Then, a human voice responded. Calm and measured. Admiral Daniel Brooks spoke from the bridge of the Uns Valiant. Fleetmaster Krathel, this is Admiral Brooks of Earth Defense. I have a message for you and the Galactic Council. No. That single word hung in space between the Sukadi. Fleet's. Krathel felt a moment of genuine surprise. You refuse? He asked, after seeing the overwhelming force arrayed against you. I refuse. Brooks confirmed, and I suggest you turn your fleet around while you still can. Laughter erupted on the bridge of the Eternal Judgment officers. From a dozen different council species found humor in the humans' absurd. Krathel silenced them with a gesture. Very well, he said. You have chosen destruction. May your death serve as a lesson to other primitive species who... The transmission cut off as Admiral Brooks closed the channel. Krathel growled in irritation. All ships, advance to attack range. Weapons, free. Destroy them. The Council fleet moved forward in perfect precision. Dreadnoughts in the center, cruisers on the flanks, destroyers screening the formation. It was beautiful in its efficiency. 3,000 years of tactical development made manifest. The human ships appeared to break formation as the Council advanced, their vessels scattered in random directions. No coordination, no plan, just panic. They run like frightened children. Krathel observed. Target the largest vessels first. Make their defeat quick. The Council's first wave of weapons fire lit up space energy. Beams and plasma torpedoes crossed the distance toward the fleeing human ships and missed every single shot. Missed. The human vessels moved in ways that shouldn't be possible. They changed direction without visible thrust. They accelerated and decelerated beyond what their mass should allow. They seemed to dance between the incoming fire. What is happening? Krathel demanded. Sir, they're using some form of gravity manipulation, the sensor officer said, confusion clear in his voice. They're creating localized gravitational fields to change trajectory. Our targeting systems can't predict their movements. Before Krathel could respond, the human ships stopped running in perfect synchronization. All 53 vessels turned to face the Council fleet. Incoming fire. Someone shouted. The weapons that struck the Eternal Judgment shields were unlike anything in Council experience. Not energy beams that the shields could deflect, but solid projectiles moving at impossible speeds. The shields flickered and died under the kinetic. Assault alarms screamed across the bridge. shields at 40%, multiple hull breaches. Engineering. Reports. Another volley hit them. This time the projectiles punched through the weakened shields entirely. The dreadnought shuddered under the impact. 3. Council ships exploded in brilliant flashes as railgun rounds tore through their hulls. Krathel watched in shock as one of his heavy cruisers simply came apart. The kinetic energy of the human weapons devastating its structure beyond any hope of survival. Return fire, he ordered. All ships, concentrated bombardment on Sector 7. The Council fleet unleashed everything they had, the space around one human. Destroyer lit up with enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The human ship's shields absorbed some of the damage, then the vessel simply moved not. Away from the fire, through it, the destroyer performed an impossible corkscrew maneuver that brought it inside the Council formation, its weapons fired at point-blank range too. Council cruisers died before anyone could react. They're inside our formation. The tactical officers screamed. How did they? All ships. Break and engage individually. Kratzel commanded it was a mistake. The moment the Council formation broke apart, small craft erupted from the human vessel's fighters. Hundreds of them. Lieutenant Michelle Turner led the first squadron personally. Her neural interface linked her mind directly to her ship's systems. She didn't think about flying. She simply flew. Her hands moved across controls faster than conscious thought. The AI predicted enemy movements and suggested attack vectors. Her human creativity chose which suggestions to follow and invented new ones the AI hadn't considered together. They were perfect. Her squadron screamed through the Council fleet. The enemy's large ships tried to track the tiny fighters. Their targeting systems, designed for engaging other capital ships, couldn't lock on to such small, fast-moving targets. Michelle's fighter carried weapons scaled for its size, but using the same relativistic technology as the larger vessels. She fired on a Council destroyer. The projectile punched through its armor like paper. Secondary explosions rippled along the ship's spine. Second Squadron, follow my lead, she called over the comm. Hit them in the engines. Third Squadron, take out their communication arrays. Make them blind and deaf. The Council fleet descended into chaos there. Centuries of tactical doctrine meant nothing against an enemy who fought without rules. Captain Nicole Grant commanded a squadron of human destroyers while the fighters harassed the Council ships. She led her vessels in coordinated strikes against the largest targets. Target the dreadnought in Sector 12. She ordered. All ships, fire on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. 6 destroyers fired simultaneously. The combined kinetic energy hit the Council dreadnought with the force of a small asteroid impact. The ship's shields collapsed. Its armor crumbled. Atmosphere vented into space as the hull ruptured. The dreadnought listed dead in space. Grant didn't celebrate. Next target, she said. The cruiser cluster in Sector 9. Same tactic. Commander Stephen Park coordinated the overall battle from his position aboard the Valiant. Multiple holographic displays surrounded him. He watched every ship, tracked every movement. His mind processed tactical data with machine precision while his human intuition identified patterns the computers missed. Admiral, the Council is trying to reform their battle line, he reported. Recommend we deploy battle Group 2 from their hiding position. Brooks nodded. Do it. Park sent the signal. 200 more human ships appeared on scanners. They had been hiding in Earth's shadow, invisible to Council sensors. The Council fleet, already reeling from the first engagement, now faced a force nearly equal to their own numbers. Krathel stared at his displays in disbelief. The battle had lasted 18 minutes. He had lost 94 ships. 94 ships. The humans had lost none. 0 casualties. It was impossible. Fleetmaster. Multiple ships reporting critical damage. His second officer said, engineering decks across the fleet are requesting permission to withdraw. Morale is silence. Kratziel roared. "We are the Galactic Council. We do not retreat from primitives. All ships, concentrate fire on the human flagship. If we kill their admiral, they will break." Every remaining council ship turned their weapons on the Uns. Valiant, the space around Brooks' ship, became a storm of energy and fire. Shields at 60%. The shield operator reported calmly, 50%, 40%. Brooks stood on his bridge, hands clasped behind his back, watching the council fleet exhaust itself. "Return fire," he said quietly. "Target their flagship, the Valiant's main guns." Spoke Rail's gun rounds crossed the distance in seconds. They struck the Eternal Judgment with devastating precision. The Dreadnought's bridge exploded. Rathel had one last moment to realize his terrible mistake. Then there was nothing with their commander. Dead, and their flagship destroyed. The Council fleet finally broke. Ships turned away from Earth engines, pushed to maximum as they fled. The humans didn't pursue. They simply watched as 600 ships became 500. Then 400. Admiral Brooks opened a channel to all Council vessels. "You came here to conquer us," he said. "You believed we were weak. You were wrong. Return to your council. Tell them humanity will not surrender. Tell them we offer peace, but we are prepared for war. And if they send another fleet," Brooks paused, letting them see Earth's full defensive grid powering up behind him, "we'll be ready." High Arbiter Velthorn watched the battle feed from the council chambers. His forearms gripped the armrests of his throne, so tightly the metal bent around him. Representatives from 40 species sat in stunned silence. Impossible was happening before their eyes. "This cannot be accurate." Council member Zaxter said, "The data must be corrupted. The feed is direct from Fleet Master Krathsil's flagship." The communication officer confirmed, "All information has been verified across multiple." The feed went dark as the Eternal Judgment exploded. Velthorn stood slowly. "Recall the 7th and 9th battle fleets," he ordered. "I want 1,000 ships at Earth within 3 days. We will crush this rebellion before it spreads." "High Arbiter, perhaps we should consider negotiation," suggested a smaller council member. "The humans have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. They are still primitives who got lucky." Velthorn shouted, "One victory does not make them our equals. Send the fleets. This ends now." 3 days later, the council returned to Earth. This time, they brought 1,000 warships, dreadnoughts that could level continents, carriers filled with atmospheric fighter siege vessels designed to break planetary defenses. Admiral Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge of the Valiant, watching the massive fleet emerge from faster-than-light travel. Commander Stephen Park stood beside him, reviewing tactical data. They doubled their force, Park observed, and they're maintaining tight formation this time. They learned from Krathsil's mistake. "Good," Brooks said. "That means they're taking us seriously. Signal all ships. Execute Battle Plan Omega across human space." Hidden signals activated on Europa. Massive doors opened in the ice. Ship after ship emerged from the frozen moon's underground facilities on Titan. Construction yards that had been building in secret for 6 months revealed their products. Battleships and carriers rose from beneath the clouds on Enceladus. Weapons platforms that looked like mining stations powered up their true systems and from Earth's orbital space. The ships that had been hiding using advanced stealth technology dropped their camouflage. 300 human vessels appeared on council scanners. Then 400. Then 500. The council fleet's confidence wavered as the numbers kept climbing. Admiral Brooks to council fleet. Daniel transmitted, "You returned expecting to face 50 ships, but you never asked why we only showed you 50. You never wondered what else we might be hiding. Now you'll see Earth's true strength. 412 warships, everyone equipped with the technology that had devastated Krathsil's fleet railguns that punched through shields, gravity manipulation that made them nearly impossible to hit. Enhanced fighters piloted by neural-linked humans and Now the Council fleet faced all of it. The new Council commander, Admiral Vextrol, studied his tactical display. He had reviewed every second of the previous battle. He had prepared for human tactics. His ships would not scatter. They would maintain formation no matter what. All vessels engage shields to maximum. He ordered, deploy fighter screen. Prepare for relativistic weapons fire. We advance as one unit. The massive fleet moved forward. This time they knew what they were facing. This time they were ready, or so they thought. Lieutenant Michelle Turner sat in her fighter's cockpit. The neural interface connected her to the ship. She felt the engines like they were part of her body. Targeting systems were extensions of her senses behind her. 400 other pilots waited in their craft, all squadrons. "This is Turner," she transmitted. "The Council brought more ships this time, so we hit them harder. Remember your training. Trust your II partners, and show them what humans can do. Launch." The fighters screamed from their carriers, and like the previous battle, the Council had prepared anti-fighter defenses, smaller vessels, specifically designed to track and destroy the human craft. The two groups met in the space between the main fleet's energy weapons lit up the darkness. Michelle's II partner calculated trajectories and highlighted threats. Her human reflexes chose which threats to avoid and which to engage. She rolled her fighter through a barrage of plasma fire, locked onto an enemy anti-fighter vessel. Fired the relativistic round, hit the enemy ships. Engine section, secondary explosions tore it apart. Splash 1. She reported, "Second Squadron, watch your 6. Enemy fighters coming around from..." Her warning saved 3 pilots as Council atmospheric fighters attempted a flanking maneuver, but Council fighters were piloted by organic beings using traditional controls. The human pilots with their neural interfaces moved faster, thought faster, fought faster. Within 5 minutes, the Council's anti-fighter screen was collapsing. Captain Nicole Grant led her destroyer squadron against the Council's left flank. The enemy had learned to expect the gravity manipulation tactics. Their targeting systems now attempted to predict movement patterns, but Grant had anticipated this. "All ships, random evasion pattern Delta," she ordered. "Don't let them establish our algorithm." The destroyers began moving in truly random patterns. Each ship's AI generated unpredictable movements. The Council targeting systems couldn't adapt fast enough. Grant's squadron tore through 3 Council cruisers before the enemy could adjust their formation. Meanwhile, Commander Park coordinated the main battle from his position. He watched the tactical display with the eye of someone who had spent his entire career studying warfare. "The Council is keeping their dreadnoughts in the center," he told Admiral Brooks, "using the smaller ships as shields. Smart tactic. How do we break it?" Brooks asked. "We don't." Park replied, "We go around it." He highlighted sections of the Council formation. "Battle groups 3 and 7 swing wide here and here. Make them think we're trying to flank. When they adjust to counter, battle groups 4 and 6 punch straight through their weakened center. Classic pincer. But the Council won't expect it because it requires perfect coordination. And we have perfect coordination," Brooks smiled. "Do it." The human fleet split into groups 2. Battle groups swung wide on opposite sides of the Council formation. Admiral Vextrol saw the maneuver and responded exactly as Park predicted. Redeploy flanking vessels to counter their attack. He ordered. The Council formation shifted. Ships moved from the center to reinforce the flanks. The moment they did, 2 more human battle groups accelerated directly at the weakened center. "It's a trap." Vextrol realized too late. The human ships hit the Council line with devastating force railguns, firing in coordinated volleys. Each shot precisely calculated to maximum damage. Council shields collapsed under the sustained assault. Ambassador Lisa Thompson watched the battle from her position. Aboard a command carrier, she had returned from the Council station the day before. Now she observed as humanity proved itself through force part. of her mourned the necessity of violence, but another part felt pride at what her species had achieved. Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from the Council flagship. A communication officer reported, Admiral Vextrel wishes to speak with Admiral Brooks. Put it through. Brooks' order at Vextrel's face appeared on the screen. The alien commander looked exhausted. Admiral Brooks, I request a ceasefire, he said. Your forces have proven themselves formidable. Further conflict serves no purpose. Are you surrendering? Brooks asked. I am requesting negotiations. Vextrel corrected. There is a difference. Brooks considered this around him. The battle continued, human ships methodically dismantling the Council formation. Commander Park, halt offensive operations, Brooks ordered. Maintain defensive posture. The human fleet stopped firing. They held position. Weapons ready, but not attacking. I'm listening. Brooks told Vextrel. The Council underestimated humanity. Vextrel admitted. This was a grave error, but continued warfare benefits neither of our peoples. I propose we both withdraw and allow diplomacy to resolve this situation. Brooks looked at Lisa Thompson. She stepped forward. Entering the camera's view, Admiral Vextrel. I am Ambassador Thompson, she said. 3 days ago, High Arbiter Velthorn refused all diplomatic solutions. He demanded Earth surrender. Has the Council's position changed? Vextrel hesitated. I cannot speak for the High Arbiter. He finally said, but I can tell you that what I have witnessed today will reshape the Council's understanding of your species. Whether they accept you as equals or fear you as threats remains to be seen. Not good enough, Brooks said. You return. To the Council with this message. Humanity desires peace. But we will not be subjugated. We offer friendship to all species who approach us with respect. We will trade, share knowledge, and work together for mutual benefit. But if the Council sends another invasion fleet, we will defend ourselves. And next time, we won't stop at your borders. Vextrel's expression showed something between respect and fear. I will deliver your message, Admiral. But know this, the Council has never accepted defiance. What happens next is beyond my control. Then we'll be ready. Brooks replied, whatever comes next, Earth will be ready. The transmission ended. The Council fleet began a slow withdrawal. They maintained formation. Weapons still active, not quite defeated, but no longer attacking the human fleet. Let them go pursuing. Would only cause more casualties, and humanity had proven its point on Earth. General Karen White received the battle report DR. Paul Martinez stood beside her in the command center. 230 Council ships destroyed or disabled. She read, human casualties, 14 vessels damaged, 43 personnel killed, 197 wounded. Against a force of 1,000, Martinez said quietly. 7 days after the second battle, Ambassador Lisa Thompson returned to the Galactic Council chambers. This time, she walked through the corridors, differently alien. Beings no longer ignored her presence. Some watched with curiosity, others with respect. Few with fear, the Council had called an emergency session. Every species representative was required to attend. Lisa took her seat in the lowest tier again, but somehow, the position felt different now. High Arbiter Velthorn entered the chamber last. His forearms hung at his sides, his 3 black eyes found. Lisa immediately. The Council recognizes Ambassador Thompson of Earth. He said. His voice lacked its previous arrogance. Lisa stood. The chamber fell silent. Thank you. High Arbiter, she began. I come before you today not as a supplicant, but as a representative of a sovereign species. Humanity desires peace with the Galactic Council. We seek trade, cultural exchange, and mutual cooperation. But we will not accept subjugation. We will not surrender our freedom, and we will not allow any species to threaten our homeworld without consequence. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Council members asked. There stood Ambassador Your military has humiliated Council forces twice, he said. You speak of peace while holding weapons to our throats. How can we trust your intentions? Lisa had prepared for this question. After both battles, human forces rescued survivors from damaged Council vessels. She replied, "We provided medical care to wounded Council soldiers. We could have executed prisoners or left them to die in space. Instead, we treated them with dignity. Our actions speak louder than words." A smaller species representative stood. "But where did your technology come from?" "Where did your technology come from?" she asked. "You claim to be a young species. How did you develop such advanced weapons in mere centuries?" Dr. Paul Martinez appeared on a holographic display beside Lisa in his laboratory on Earth. "Surrounded by schematics and data, I can answer that," Martinez said. "Earth is what you classify as a death world. Our gravity is 30% higher than galactic standard. Our atmosphere would be toxic to many of your species. Our climate ranges from frozen wastelands to scorching deserts, and our evolutionary history is marked by constant struggle." He brought up images of Earth's prehistoric predators, massive creatures with teeth and claws. Humanity did not evolve in safety. Martinez continued, "We climbed from the bottom of the food chain. Every advancement we made came from necessity. We developed tools to hunt because we were weak. We created fire to survive the cold. We built communities because alone we would die. And when we finally reached the stars, we brought that same drive with us." The Council representatives listened in fascination. Many had never considered what it meant to evolve on a death world. "Your weapons technology seems centuries ahead of your other developments," another representative observed. "Why focus on warfare?" "Because we learned a hard lesson," Martinez replied. "When humanity first developed nuclear weapons, we nearly destroyed ourselves. We came within minutes of total annihilation multiple times. So we learned to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. We developed defensive technology before we needed it. We planned for conflicts we hoped would never come. When your scouts arrived in our system 6 months ago, we didn't know your intentions, so we prepared for every possibility." Valthorn stood slowly. "You deceived us," he said. "When your first diplomatic vessel arrived, you showed us only civilian technology. You deliberately hid your military capabilities." "Yes," Lisa admitted, "because the galaxy has a history of strong species conquering weak ones. We chose to appear weak until we understood who we were dealing with. It was prudent, it was necessary, and it saved lives on both sides." "How?" Valthorn demanded. Lisa gestured to Admiral Daniel Brooks, whose image appeared on another holographic display. Brooks stood on the bridge of the Valiant, overlooking Earth. "If we had shown our full strength immediately, the Council would have seen us as a threat," Brooks explained. "You would have attacked with overwhelming force before diplomacy had a chance. By appearing weak, we controlled the pace of engagement. Fleetmaster Kraftzil brought 600 ships because he thought 53 would be enough. When that failed, you sent 1,000. If you had known our true capabilities from the start, you might have sent 5,000, 10,000. The casualties would have been catastrophic." Valthorn considered this as much as he hated to admit it. The human had a point. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we talk," Lisa said simply. "We establish boundaries and protocols. We create trade agreements that benefit both parties. We learn from each other." General Karen White's image joined the display. "The Council has technology we lack in certain areas," she said. "Your medical advancements could save human lives. Your understanding of exotic matter could accelerate our research. And in return, we offer our own innovations. Our gravity manipulation technology, our AI neural interface systems, our adaptation techniques from death world survival. We can help each other grow stronger, or we can continue fighting." Brooks added, The choice is yours. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some species called for continued warfare. Others argued for peace. A few suggested isolating humanity entirely. Lisa waited patiently as they argued. She had learned that patience was humanity's secret weapon, while aliens who lived for centuries thought in terms of millennia. Humans who lived less than 100 years had learned to act decisively, but they had also learned when to wait. Finally, Velthorn raised all four arms. The chamber fell silent. Ambassador Thompson, the council requires time to deliberate, he said. This session is adjourned. We will reconvene in 3 days with our decision. Lisa nodded and left the chamber. Outside, she found Commander Stephen Park waiting. How did it go? He asked. Better than expected, Lisa replied. They're actually considering peace. That's progress. They walked through the station together. Do you think they'll accept us? Park asked. Eventually, Lisa said. They need time to adjust. For 3,000 years, they've been the dominant power. Now they have to share that position. Pride is a difficult thing to swallow. 3 days later, the council reconvened. Lisa returned to the chamber. This time, Admiral Brooks and General White attended via holographic. Linkful Thorn stood before the assembled representatives. The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding humanity, he announced. After extensive debate and consideration of all factors, we have determined the following. Earth and all human territories will be recognized as sovereign space. Humanity will be granted full council membership with all associated rights and responsibilities. All previous demands for surrender are hereby rescinded. In return, humanity agrees to the following terms. You will not share your advanced weapons technology with species outside the council without council approval. You will participate in joint military exercises to help improve council defensive capabilities. And you will contribute your expertise to council scientific endeavors. Lisa felt relief wash over her. It wasn't perfect, but it was fair. On behalf of humanity, I accept these terms, she said. We look forward to working with the council as partners. Velthorn nodded. There is one more matter, he said. Several council species have requested permission to send students to study on Earth. They wish to understand Deathworld adaptation firsthand. And some of our military commanders would like to learn your tactical approaches. Lisa smiled. We would welcome teachers and students from across the council, she replied. Exchange of knowledge benefits everyone. After the session ended, Lisa found herself approached by various species representatives. They asked questions about Earth, about human culture, about the technology that had defeated council forces. She answered honestly and openly. This was the beginning of something new. Captain Richard Cole stood in a training facility on Europa. Across from him stood a Kryn warrior, one of the species known for their combat prowess. You wish to learn human fighting techniques? Cole asked. The Kryn nodded. Your forces defeated superior numbers through adaptation and creativity, he said. These are skills the council has forgotten. We have relied on our strength for too long. Teach us to be flexible. Cole smiled. All right, let's start with the basics. In human martial arts, we have a saying. The river that flows around the rock is stronger than the rock that stops it. Meaning strength isn't just about force. It's about knowing when to push and when to yield, when to stand firm and when to adapt. On Titan, Lieutenant Michelle Turner gave a presentation to council pilots. Her neural interface demonstration left them amazed. The AI doesn't control the ship for you? One alien pilot asked. No, Michelle explained. It enhances my natural abilities. I'm still in control. The AI handles calculations and provides options. I make the final decisions. Together, we're more than either of us could be alone. This is the future of space combat. Not replacing the pilot, but empowering them. The council pilots listened eagerly. Some species had tried AI flight systems before, but they had always prioritized either The pilot or the machine humans had found the balance. Dr. Martinez hosted council scientists in his Earth laboratory. They studied human research with fascination. Your approach to problem solving is so different from ours, one scientist observed. You consider options we would dismiss as impossible, because on Earth, impossible just meant we hadn't figured it out yet. Martinez replied, our environment forced us to think creatively. We couldn't rely on brute force.